Since Halloween is coming, I thought I'd tell a ghost story. Can you say that? Ghost story. Anyway, when I was about 7 years old, we lived in this little apartment in Sepulveda and on Orion Street, right across the street from an elementary school. And I believe I was 7 years old, and yeah, I was 7 years old, and we moved in, and my sister's bedroom had some weird activity in it. Garbage truck just went by. Anyway, my sister's bedroom had some strange activity. One day when I say we, my sister, myself, our cousin Tabby, and someone else, we were all inside my sister's bedroom playing with her dolls. And I think my sister said something about something under her bed. Well, you know how kids are, there's always something under the bed. And I'm 46 years old, and I still think there's something under the bed. Only because I had this experience that, you know, when you have an experience like this, it never goes away. So what happened was, she threw one of the dolls under the bed, and like within seconds, that doll was flung out at us, and we all screamed at the top of our lungs. 4 girl screams. We ran from my sister's bedroom to the living room, all 4 of us screaming at the top of our lungs. And my parents said, "There's no such thing as ghosts. Go back and play." So another time, I was in my bedroom, and I was asleep, and I woke up, and it was about 3 in the morning. And 3 in the morning is a significant time because that's what the show Ghost Hunters, that's what they call the witching hour. And that's when ghosts like present themselves to you. And I woke up, and I see like a shadow figure standing at the foot of my bed, and it just freaked me out. I thought that the apartment that we lived in was haunted. And so the next day, we were at school, and we were in the cafeteria eating lunch, and the principal came in and shouted, "Silencio, silencio," and the whole cafeteria went quiet, and there goes a motorcycle. So the whole cafeteria went quiet, and they called my name and my sister's names, or my name and my sister's name, and I don't know why it is, but whenever I hear my name, I get like goosebumps throughout my whole body. But especially that day, because you know, when a principal comes into a cafeteria and silences everyone and then shouts your name, you know, it's kind of embarrassing, and all the kids around us went, ooh, you know, like we were going to be in trouble or something. So we left the cafeteria and went towards the principal, and there was our mother standing in the hallway, and apparently our grandmother had passed away. So I don't remember the shadow figure being there too much after that. So we I don't know how long we lived in that apartment building, but we moved eventually to Reseda, and we lived in one apartment on the bottom floor, and then we moved two apartments over, and my parents were the apartment building managers, and so the shadow figures weren't always there in that new apartment, but one night I woke up and there were two shadow figures, and again it was about 3 in the morning, and it seemed like every night I woke up at 3 in the morning like clockwork, and there were two shadow figures standing at the closet doors, and it freaked me out. I mean, I was frozen every time I would lay in the bed. I would put the blanket over my face and, you know, peek out and hope that it was hope that they were gone, and you know, for some reason they would stand there for a certain amount of time before they would leave. One night, my sister and I were laying in our beds sleeping, and I woke up at 3 in the morning, and I looked up and I looked at the closet doors and there was nothing there. I looked over at my sister and she was sleeping, and then I looked up at the closet doors again and there they were, and then I looked over at my sister and there were two of her. One was sleeping and the other one, she was like on her side, and she had her elbows on the edge of the bed staring at me, and that really messed me up. And so I had it with that bedroom, you know, and I hated going to bed. One night I begged my mom to let me sleep on the couch, and she wouldn't let me. And so one night I woke up and, you know, all the activity was there again, and shadow figures, and you know, I was having nightmares, and I vlogged about Halloween, these dreams that I had, these really, really awful dreams that I had, and then Halloween came around, and the dreams were basically premonitions, and we went to a Halloween haunted castle thing, and after that all those dreams went away, and when we left Reseda, when we moved away from Reseda, all those you know, the shadow figures were gone. And it was funny because in 1982, when the movie E.T. came along, my sisters and I think my younger sister was too young to go see E.T. I don't remember, but I remember that my older sister and I went to see E.T. and one night I was laying in bed, and it was funny. I hadn't woken up at 3 in the morning for a long time, a very, very long time. And then I woke up at 3 in the morning and I was like, oh no, it's starting up again. So I look over at the closet doors and there's nothing. And then I looked over at my sister. I was like, you know, hesitating. She was on the left side of me. So I was like, and she was fine. She was asleep, and then so I looked away and I looked at the door to the hallway, and there's E.T. standing in the hallway door with a cigarette. Wasn't a shadow figure, but it was E.T. Put me in a straitjacket and put me in a padded room. Stick a fork in me, I'm done. You know, I was thinking that I was crazy. I was done. You know, and I'm surprised they have. From the amount of times that I've told the story, I'm surprised that I've never been in a mental institution, because that's a crazy thing to say. You know, nobody says something like that with a straight face. You have to say it with. You have to laugh, because it's so weird and stupid and freaky, and nobody, that happens to no one. How, you know, and that's the thing, is that every time I've told a story about the shadow men or shadow figures, see, I say shadow figures because I don't know that they're men. You know, they, all that time, that could have been my grandmother and my great grandmother, for all I know. I don't know. Could have been aliens. Who knows? But I'm not going to give them a gender, because I don't know what they are. And so nobody would tell me that that they've ever heard of the shadow figures. They would always, like, you know, look at me like, okay, whatever, you know, humor me. But then I started watching the show Ghost Hunters, and they started talking about the shadow figures and Ghost Adventures and on Travel Channel, and all these YouTube videos of the shadow figures or shadow men, and I'm like, this is real. I'm not crazy. So, you know, finally I'm feeling like I'm not crazy after all, but you know, it's unfortunate that I was the only, or that the people that I told the story to, it's unfortunate that they had never experienced the shadow figures, because at least they would know that I was telling the truth, and at least I would have someone to, like, have a real conversation with. And and that's all I've ever wanted, was to have a real conversation with someone who didn't think I was nuts, who would say, "Oh yeah, I've heard of this," or yeah, "Oh yeah, that's happened to me too." Yeah, you know, and at least we could compare stories. But you know, as it turns out, nobody's ever had the experience that I've ever met. And when I was the first year, I was with my partner, Chip. I think it was the first year. I don't remember, but I was laying in bed, and I was laying on my back, and he was to my right. And I woke up at 3 in the morning, and I looked over at him, and he was fine. And then I laid my head back down, and there was a face. I had closed my eyes, and I opened my eyes again, and there was a face, literally like this close to my face. And I was laying down, and I just shot up screaming. And if that was a real face, we both would have, like, bumped our noses to each other, and you know, I shot up so fast, we probably would have both had a broken nose. But I shot up so fast that I went right through the face. And that was the first time that has ever happened to me. And I thought it was him at first. And so at first I was like, I looked at the face, and I thought, you know, at first I thought, oh my God, he's trying to scare me. And then I realized it wasn't his face. It was a male, but it wasn't his face. And so I shot up, and I just started screaming. And it woke him up, and he was like, what, you know, and I couldn't stop screaming. And I was screaming in bursts, like, ah, and I just couldn't stop. And finally I stopped screaming, and when I realized that there's nothing I could do about it, stop screaming. And so yeah, well, sometimes at night I'll just be laying in the bed, and I can't sleep, and I'll see something moving, and it's like kind of like when you're looking at the air above fire, and like a plant is moving. There's no wind blowing it, but it's like going like this. Well, you can see a person walking in the darkness. You can see it's like air being distorted, and it's that has happened to me a couple times where I've seen like a ghost walking, but I don't know who it is. I've seen that in my bedroom here, and for years, when we first moved to Bakersfield, when we first moved to Bakersfield in 2000, we were living in the little house. There's two houses on this property. There's the big house, which is what we're living in now, which is a 2-bedroom. And the little house next door is actually a rental. We're renting it out to someone right now. But when we moved here, my partner's mother lived in the big house, and we moved into the rental. And so for some reason, every time I would lay down on the couch and watch television, it would feel like a cat had jumped up on the couch, and you could feel the cat walking along the couch. And I would, sometimes I would have my eyes closed because I was like falling asleep while watching whatever TV program. And so I would open my eyes, because we had a cat at the time, and I would open my eyes and there was nothing there. And that happened so many times. And then when his mother passed away, we moved into the big house, and I would be laying on my bed, and all of a sudden I would feel a cat jump up on the bed. And you could feel the front paws, and you could feel the back. You could even feel the back paws. You could feel the cat walking along the bed, and it would always walk up to me. If I had my head on this side of the bed watching TV, I could feel it jump up right here where I'm sitting, and then walk over to me over here. And if I'm laying here, I could feel it jump up at the foot of the bed, walking over to here. It's like the cat knows where I'm at, and it wants to be petted or something. I have no idea. And for some reason, I reach out my hand to pet the cat, the invisible cat. And what's funny is that our cat passed away in 2009, so we don't have a cat in the house. And our dog, you've seen her, she's asleep right now, but she doesn't do that. So she's felt it too, and my partner has felt the cat too, and he's denied it for years until he felt it. So anyway, that's my Halloween stories, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, please click like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.